Rivers State. In the span of 48 hours, Nigeria watched two central figures in the state's political crisis make moves that many believe could shape the fate of the oil-rich state and perhaps the future of the nation's democratic process. On Monday, Nyesom Wike bared his soul to the nation, announcing his political godson, Siminalayi Fubara, of betrayal so deep it drives him to tears, likening Governor Fubara's actions to a son who turned a gun on his father. And then yesterday, Governor Fubara quietly visited President Tinubu at his private residence here in Lagos, their first face-to-face since the president declared emergency rule and suspended Governor Fubara's government in March. Well, at least the first meeting we have proof held. Tonight, with just 3 months left before the emergency rule expires in September, we're joined by someone deeply embedded in the politics of Rivers. Ikenga Chibuike is the publicity secretary of the APC in the state. He helps us unpack where the crisis stands, who really holds power, and what the end game may be looking like. Thank you for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So yesterday, Governor Fubara visited President Tinubu. A quiet but what some call a powerful move. From an insider's perspective, what do you believe prompted that visit at this particular time?
Yeah, thank you again for having me. Thank you, viewers. I cannot hazard a guess as to why that meeting was structured. But what I know is that I think that what the Governor Fubara had done is to reach out to the president once again to see to what extent the crisis will become resolved. You'd recall that, like you did mention a few days ago, that the FCT minister did put before the public that after the initial visitation Governor Fubara did with two governors and an elder statesman, even though the governor did inform the FCT minister that he was traveling overseas, he hasn't had anything further from him. And I think that that was to signpost the fact that the peace process is up but hasn't progressed. And that a lot was being expected from the governor to do. And I would suspect that it was that before the governor visited the president, the FCT minister had also visited the day before.
All right. The fact that you just mentioned that this meeting came just one day after that emotional media chat by the FCT minister, and many believe that Governor Fubara's visit was a reaction to his revelations of part of a bigger, his revelation of what has transpired just before that time.
Yes, of course, that's what I'm saying. I said after the media chat, you recall that the FCT minister was in a closed-door meeting with the president. So, and that it was only after that Governor Fubara visited the president. So, in my view, I may not be right, I stand to be corrected. In my view, I think that some of the issues that were raised at that media chat and the meeting between the president and the FCT minister may have led to the meeting the governor had with the president.
Indeed, as someone who is close to the APC machinery in the state, do you have any idea what may have been discussed at that closed-door meeting?
No, I may not for certainty say what had been discussed, but I think that I'm just believing that the reason is because the peace process, like the FCT minister had said, had not moved further than it was the last time anybody heard about it, and that there was need to fast-tracking it to ensuring that the entire crisis will be finally settled so that we can start development of our state.
You listen to that media chat. In your view, what hurt former Governor Wike most in his fallout with Governor Fubara?
Well, you know that Governor Fubara was brought into politics by the FCT minister. And it didn't start overnight. He took him from DFA in Government House to permanent secretary to Accountant General, finally to becoming governor. So you will understand that he had so much confidence. The FCT minister had so much confidence in the governor. Besides, you'd recall that the FCT minister had said that all the people who had lined up behind the governor today are people who oppose his candidature, who were against him becoming governor. But the FCT minister did all within his powers to rally around his team to making him governor. So for him to now, like FCT minister did say, that he now availed himself to those of his opponents who could not fight him, who didn't have what it takes to fight him, to use him as his successor to try to undermine him and put him out politically. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. That's why he's pained.
So the FCT minister said peace is impossible without involving all parties, especially the lawmakers who were sidelined. Do you agree?
100%. The disagreement started with the executive led by Governor Fubara and the legislature led by Right Honorable Martin Samehuli. So the two arms of government disagreed, and it was in that process that the crisis snowballed into what we have today. So peace must include all those who were involved in that crisis. The executive being the governor, his deputy, and then the House of Assembly being Right Honorable Martin Samehuli, who are critical stakeholders in Rivers State government as of today. And then party, the PDP leadership, the APC leadership, the market women, the trade unions, journalists, critical stakeholders must be involved. Leaders of the state must be involved for an all-inclusive peace, which we desire in Rivers State.
And we look forward to that. The reality, or rather the possibility that that will be a reality, is also critically in question. There are concerns whether Governor Fubara's reconciliation effort, was flawed from the start. Some say the former governor is unwilling to let go of power. Is that a fair assessment, or is he simply protecting the political structure, like you said, that brought Fubara in?
No, the former governor is in power already, so he can't say he wants to let. He's not the governor of Rivers State. He did everything possible to ensuring that his team brought the Governor Fubara into being. So he's part of the system that brought him. So you cannot say that all those stakeholders who were part of bringing Governor Fubara into being the governor should be thrown out. That's the issue. That's the crisis. That's the point that had led to where we are. So those who work, like even the Bible enjoins that a laborer is desirous of his wages. So looking at that, we must ensure that every critical stakeholder in Rivers State must be part of that process. So for Governor Fubara, I think that that's the right thing he should do. And what the minister is saying is the right thing, that it must be an inclusive peace to guarantee that it will last longer.
So President Tinubu declared emergency rule and suspended Governor Fubara and the Assembly. As APC Publicity Secretary, do you stand by that decision?
Completely. We had always canvassed this on all media platforms that that was the best thing that happened to Rivers people. And we're even more enlightened today that even the Governor Fubara himself had said that he had come to agree with us that that was the right thing to do at that right time, because the president and his security chiefs had the details, had some information that we are not ever privy to, that led them to taking that decision to preserving lives and properties, because at that time there were serious crises that needed to be halted to avert explosion of the state. And everybody, the minister, FCT minister had said so, and APC, we had always said so. And then luckily to us, and happy too, the governor himself had also come out to say that that was the best thing he did to ensuring that there was peace. And we have peace today with the sole administrator. So we're thinking about making proper peace amongst the political gladiators and the citizens of the state. So we go back, put in all the democratic structures, and go back to continue to develop our state.
You talked about peace, but what really has changed in Rivers under emergency rule? Has governance improved, or has public trust further eroded?
Well, peace, like we have in Rivers State today, you do not have militants encouraged by government to threaten the state of Nigeria, to try to attack state facilities, to try to, nation state of Nigeria, to try to attack our economic facilities, to try to create crisis in the economy. You do not have ethnic groups who are championing ethnic domination against other ethnic groups. You do not have people who today will come out on the road and begin to do things that will further divide us. You know, people were championing disintegration instead of integration of the segments of the state. So you have today, everywhere is calm. I think that all the groups have seen the challenges we have gone through, and everybody is open to peace. But what peace are we talking about? An inclusive peace. And that's where the problem is. Everybody must be included. Every critical stakeholders must be taken along to ensuring that this peace will last as expected.
Does does the APC consider itself a stakeholder in this regard as well?
Completely. We are the critical stakeholders in the democratic march in Rivers State and the Rivers question. We are
No, I'm
completely.
saying what I was actually referring to is that are you asking for a seat at the table in this peace process between the two gentlemen?
No, it is important. We're Rivers people, and then we are an institution as well. There's no problem. It is not about the governor and the FCT minister. It's about the governor who is the leader of the executive arm of government and the House of Assembly, headed by Martin Samehule. The responsibility of the FCT minister is to ensure that these two groups, who he is their benefactor, come together to ensure that they pursue good governance, transparency and accountability, and checks and balances in the governance of the state. I think that's what the FCT minister is pursuing.
With September approaching, is the APC in Rivers preparing for a transition back to democratic control, or should Nigerians expect an extension?
Yeah, you know that the peace itself is conditional. You know, the return is conditional as well. The condition is the fact that there will be peace. Everybody must come to the round table and make concessions. You know that politics is about sacrifices, give and take, concessions. You know, we should discourage this zero-sum game where when you win everything, the loser loses everything. That's the issue here. So coming back, all of us are interested. We have signposted that over time, that everybody wants to be part of it. We're all citizens of River State. We must be part of the development of our state. And if that had been the case, anybody or group who refuses to ensuring that all of us come together in our democratic march, in our development march in River State, then we have thrown our doors open for an extension of the state of emergency. But I do not think that that's what everyone deserves. We deserve to come together. We should forgive each other, make concessions. You know, make concessions, make sacrifices, give and take. It's not a winner takes all thing. That's the reason why we have the crisis. Otherwise, we would have shot ourselves to understand what we have lost when we have fought to the extent that someone who was in his house, we now called him to come take over the governance of our state. And then we created so much turmoil within our state that the president had no other option than to declare state of emergency to save lives and properties.
So Governor Fubara recently said he doesn't wish to return as governor. Do you take that seriously, or you see it as a political drama?
Well, if you ask me, I would think that I didn't take that seriously because I know the governor Fubara very well. Is my friend. We work together in government house under the FCT minister. I want to assure you that the moves the governor had made after that comment shows that what he said there was not exactly what he meant. He's interested. He doesn't want to leave the government. He wants to be in government. If you also check his move to the minister, his move to the president, even yesterday, it does show that he's interested in coming back, but he needs to do the needful and as quickly as possible.
But how is your party reading the mood on the ground? Are Rivers people fed up with the drama or still firmly behind the former governor?
You know, the Governor Fubara is not a politician, and Governor Fubara hadn't had time to build in an entrenched structure. It is the former governor, the FCT minister, who holds the ACs. You know that the FCT minister had also triumphed over some former governors over time, and then he has a very solid structure. So the governor, the state knows that the person to align with is the former governor who is FCT minister. He has what it takes. He wins elections. He trounces his opponents over time, and it was part of that that Governor Fubara became governor through those opportunities and his pursuits.
If peace talks break down, what should President Tinubu's next step, be? More pressure, mediation, or a new election?
I think that we have the final opportunity to making peace, reconciling ourselves, and moving forward. I do not think that Governor Fubara will let this go by. The reason being that the buck stops on his table as the governor we all elected, championed by Chief Ezenwoye Sowike, who is the FCT minister. So all the governor Fubara needs to do is to obey those wise counsels from the president, obey those wise counsels from the FCT minister that he needs to pursue an inclusive peace by discussing with critical stakeholders like the Rivers State House Assembly members led by Right Honorable Martin Samewule, who is the speaker, discussing with the leadership of his party, the PDP, discussing with leadership of very strong political parties like the APC. We are critical stakeholders. Take note that we own the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is something to brag about. We're happy about that, so we must be part of it, and then we are river citizens as well. So we do not think that we'll allow this final opportunity to go by. So I don't want to sound negative. But if we fail, then there'll be a further extension until we receive sense, according to our local balance.
Shouldn't there be some form of mutually exclusive or inclusive burden for both parties to bear? Considering the fact that it is the Rivers people that Nigerians are concerned about, both parties should be able to let go of certain conditions to be able to see this move forward. You don't agree that they both have that responsibility?
Undoubtedly, that's what I've been saying. Concessions must be made across board.
No, because you mentioned what Governor Fubara has to do, but you're not talking about what the other camp also has to give to make this happen.
No, I said concession. Let me come. The House of Assembly members have not been paid their salaries. They have not been paid their allowances. They need to get it. And then for us, we believe that those who disagree with Governor Fubara must also agree on the terms that the president has set before them to make peace. But I believe so strongly that the FCT minister, who is the leader of both Fubara and the House Assembly members, who is their benefactor, had said that they should obey the rule of law. They should obey, particularly the governor should obey his oath of allegiance and oath of office, as well as the House Assembly members. So they work according to the prescriptions of the Constitution. And if that is done, that there won't be any problem. That is the position.
So we are now at the point where we have to wait for both parties to do the right things to be able to talk this through and ensure that they are able to reach, some form of consensus before the 6 months expire. But how do you see things moving forward from there? Because we have been here before where we saw them meet together and even signed a particular form of memorandum of understanding, but things eventually fell out. Are you hopeful that whatever agreement is reached this time is going to be able to experience some form of sustainability in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think that the FCT minister did well to bring into the fore the fact that after the visitation by Governor Fubara and two other governors and other statesmen, that nothing had gone beyond that. So what he's doing is to say that, look, we still have a lot to do to ensuring that we finally cement the peace we pursue. So that's a good way a leader should behave. He has called the attention of the world, including the attention of the governor, to say Governor Fubara to say that, look, my brother, my son, my friend, my associate, the governor of my state, you have not gone beyond visiting me. We need to sit down and bring all the stakeholders together and make this peace and move forward and take the headache off the head of the president, because he has a lot to face in pursuit of turning around the fortunes of Nigerians. I think that once that is cemented, we move forward, and then it will be Uhuru.
Interesting days ahead, especially now that there are a lot of conversations around 2027 and what have you. But what has your party decided in Rivers State as to the direction to go? Because we see some multiplicity of endorsements a few weeks ago.
Yeah, as a party, APC in Rivers State, firstly, some of the leaders of our party were in attendance of the town hall meeting at the presidential villa. I was there myself as the publicity secretary, and we endorsed the president. He's doing a fantastic job. The process is on to taking Nigeria out of the doldrum. He didn't start them, he met them, but he has taken those tough decisions that will require some gestation period before the benefits begin to trickle down to the masses of the people. So as Rivers APC, we have equally met and endorsed the president for 2027.
All right.
That's not to say that anybody who is a member of APC does not have right to challenge us and challenge the president or challenge anybody that we've endorsed. If you have the war chest, you have the structure, you have the masses and the citizens behind you, challenge us. We go to the field. It's democracy.
Mr. Kenga, we have to go now, but I just wanted your reaction in a minute, if you can, to whether or not APC is expecting Governor Fubara to the camp. In fact, some say it's one of the conditions given for him to return.
Well, those who are saying it's one of the conditions we are there in the meeting, those are speculations, those are conjectures. But as an APC, we are open to any citizen of Nigeria that identifies with our policies and programs as enshrined in the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. We want to say that our house is open. You want to join us? We have due process that you must follow. If the Governor Fubara, is interested in joining our party, we can't stop him because the Constitution of Nigeria also allows people for freedom of association. So we cannot stop him, but he must follow the due processes as laid down in the Constitution of the party, of the APC.
The headline sounds like Rivers APC is willing to receive Governor Fubara. Will you consider that accurate?
If he obeys the laid down procedures of joining our party.
Interesting. And really interesting days ahead. Tinubu Kenga is Publicity Secretary of the APC in Rivers State. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. God bless you.